You are listening to the South Florida Mosaic, your magazine show with pieces of news, arts, and culture, Wednesday mornings on UIC Radio. Good morning here in South Florida. It's Wednesday, September 9th. Thank you for tuning in to our show. I'm Daniela, and I am so excited about today's guest that's joining us here in our virtual studio. He is a live event production manager doing audio, lighting, and video. He is passionate about creating life-changing experiences through technical and creative arts. So please, let's welcome Santiago. Hi, Santiago. How are you doing?
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm doing great.
Awesome. So we just want to start off. How are you doing this morning?
Pretty good. Thankfully, it's a day off for me. It's a bit rainy here in Florida, but I'm enjoying it. Just being able to relax for a little bit.
Nice. So you're a live production manager. So can you tell us a little bit what this is?
Yes. So most people kind of overlooked what it takes to put an event. So when you attend a concert, when you watch a basketball show, or match on TV like last night with the playoffs, whenever you go to a wedding, whenever you go to church, or whenever you partake of a live event or a conference of the sort or a gathering, there is a lot of work that takes place behind the scenes, whether it's getting audio amplified, microphone set up, lighting for the speaker or video or presentation and production, or even just setting up computers and tech, kind of like we are in this virtual studio. There is a large amount of people, a large group of crew that comes together to make it all happen. So my job over the past about year and a half, 2 years, as I've gone more into the management and senior on production as a production manager, I get to plan logistics, advance shows, do paperwork in terms of what we're going to need for the venues ahead of time, and then make sure that we're taken care of in terms of how many crew do we have? Do we have enough power? Do we have like a green room with catering? Those kinds of things. In addition to making sure that the show goes flawlessly with audio, lighting, video. Any needs are covered. So there's a lot of both planning, a lot of action going on. It's before I transitioned from being generally a tech, and now I'm more involved again in the management aspect on looking ahead, planning, and being able to see a show, get completed successfully.
Nice. That's awesome. You get to do a lot of things. And I'm sure that because of what you do, you've traveled so much.
Mm-hmm.
So,
luckily, that's one of the perks of the job. Depending on who you are, some people don't like to travel as much. I love it. And in a 12-month span in a year, I was in 47 different states. I think over 200 cities, more. But some cities repeat. Like last year alone, Chicago is 5 times, Denver 4 times, New York a couple. So some cities repeat, but I mean, I think the craziest schedule I've had was being in airports, or 9 different airports in a week. So it gets a little crazy. You're just always in a suitcase, always ready. Even at home, I don't really fully unpack because I could get a phone call after this and I'll head to the airport. So I love it. But at the same time, it does take the tax on you. It gets a little tiring sometimes, and it would be nice to, like today, I was glad I was able to sleep in a little bit and just relax and not have to worry about where do I need to be next.
Wow, it's a lot of work.
Yes. Yeah, it gets tiring. I have a lot of gray hairs for my age.
Yeah, but for you this year, it's like a weird because you can travel, no?
Yeah, unfortunately, right now there's not much going on. Travel kind of came to a halt. I've been lucky and blessed to be able to do it a little bit still, but not as much as normal for sure.
Yeah, so kind of with what Marta has to say, and so travel has stopped, and also the live industry has been affected. How has this personally affected what you do?
So I think it was March 5th, when things started really looking bad. Thankfully, we had a little bit of look ahead or a heads up, and compared to most other people, most other people were at home, oblivious to what was happening. But I was kind of keeping it on the radar back since January, and then late February I started getting worried. March 5th is when I got, I don't know, over a dozen, maybe 2 dozen phone calls saying that everything was getting canceled, everything was kind of just getting trashed, basically, in terms of our events scheduled for 2020. Uh, so yeah, with this, I mean, the whole live industry came to a complete halt. It was the first industry to stop, and it will be for sure the
Yeah.
last industry to return, which is really, really unfortunate. We're trying to make it aware to other civilians and the government that, hey, we are a career. I mean, we are an industry, and we contribute billions, if not trillions of dollars a year. The live event industry employs over, I want to say, over 12, 14 million people, about, give or take. Um, and it's right now people are just at home.
Yeah.
Most people don't, they don't have the opportunity to pivot, or switch careers. Like sometimes, unfortunately, has been brought up by our politicians. Like, hey, just pick a new job. And imagine if you had someone that's been doing that career for 20, 30 years, and all of a sudden they're being told, like, hey, go stock groceries at Publix.
Wow.
Nothing wrong with that, but that's kind of what we're looking at right now. And as of today, there is not really a light at the end of the tunnel yet. We're hoping that bringing awareness to the current situation will help us move on forward with caution. COVID is a pretty serious deal. But I think the example that other countries have set for us, like New Zealand did already a concert,
Yeah.
taking some precautions, and in Europe they're starting to do some events. I just saw something in Latin America being prep where they're doing social distancing, like tables for an outdoor concert. So I'm hoping that people will start taking action and measures to be able to get back
Yeah.
on, and being able to work again.
Yeah.
Santiago, do you have any advice for people who want to work in that industry?
Yeah. So
Nice.
first of all, I would make sure that you really want to get into that industry. It's not an easy industry. If someone like has option to get, you know, being able to work behind the scenes, or being able to travel or work with artists and celebrities, or are passionate about live events, start volunteering, start getting involved, get your feet wet, and start just building a network. When I
Yeah.
started, for the most part, I was volunteer. I would look for opportunities to get involved in events in Miami, at the BB&T Center, here in Sunrise, and that's kind of what got that snowball effect. But because it doesn't really matter how much you know, but who you know ultimately.
Yeah.
So for
Yeah.
me, a lot of people was like, "How do I see you in so many different cities and with all these different people?" It's because I just, have a good attitude. I'm easygoing and fun to hang around. Um, and I work hard. I mean, sometimes
Yeah.
we have 18 to 20-hour day jobs, uh,
Wow.
but we just kind of push through, and we don't allow negativity to get in the way. And if you prove your way, if you work hard, if you have a good attitude again, and then smile, people
Yeah.
keep calling you, and they'll keep giving you opportunities to get involved. And I love to be able to connect people into the industry. I love to be able to train them a little bit, and see where they can go.
Yeah. So, what, out of all the people that you have gotten to work with, who has been one of your top artists so far?
That's a great question.
It's a little
You
hard.
can give us like a top three if you can't choose one.
So, I mean, there's a lot of different aspects or criteria, I guess, for a favorite. Because some people, they're great. If it's a band, it could be a great band musically, but you might not get to see them as often, depending on how famous or how busy they could be. My ultimate favorite has always been a band named Hillsong United. They're from Australia, but they come to the US quite often. And they're great people to work with, to hang with, super down to earth and humble. And I just love them. Their attitude and their spirit is great. And there's a few others that are really fun to travel with, but sometimes from time to time, like anybody, you butt heads, especially if you are living within a very small space of a bus for months at a time. You kind of get...
It's hard.
Yeah, can imagine. Well, before we go, we just want to make sure we can plug in your Instagram. So how can people follow you and see what you're up to?
Yeah, so I try to make a good tool of social media. That way I can show where I'm at, whether it's personal, but a lot of what I'm working with. So usually on my Instagram, I'll be posting either stories or keep them on highlights. And then from time to time, just pictures of what I'm doing. And it's Santi, SANTI, Del Valle, 1022. And that's where you can find some cool stories and connect with me if you have any questions about the industry.
So it's Santi del Valle 1022?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thank you so much for giving some of your time and joining us this morning. It was really great to hear a little bit about you and what you do. So now let's see what Marta has to say with some of the news.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. I'm Marta Rodriguez, and this is the News Mosaic, the best way to be informed. Today, I have good news about this time of pandemic, because now we have the fewest COVID-19 cases here in Florida. For that, School de Broward could reopen this October. They will do it by continuing with all the health and safety protocols. But guess what? Tourists who flew to South Florida for this Labor Day weekend were shocked because they found out the same day that South Florida would be in curfew after 10 p.m. However, county officials said that they did it to prevent an increase of COVID-19 cases. So, what do you think? In just 8 weeks, yes, 8 weeks, you will decide the future of the United States by choosing between President Donald Trump and Joe Biden. According to NBC News MERS poll, here in Florida, Trump has 48% support and Biden 47%. Wow, very tight. Now we have two tropical storms in the Atlantic. They are Paulette and Rene. This one, Rene, is the most likely to become a hurricane, but the most important, none of them are a threat to South Florida. But please, that they won't be for other coasts either. Who doesn't love happy endings? Now we have a canine one. A beautiful young dog without any color or tag was found 3 days ago in Miami Beach. Everyone was worried about how to find his humans, but finally they did it. And now we know that the name of the dog is Logan. Wow, can you imagine their happiness? I'm Rodriguez from the South Florida Mosaic, your magazine show on USC Radio. And now let's hear what Carolina has to say about art.
Thank you, Marta. Hello, good morning, everyone. I'm Carolina in Mosaic Art, keeping you informed about Florida art. Today, we will continue talking about how art has made ideas flow in artists in times of COVID. I will tell you about a Venezuelan artist who resides in Miami. The exhibition is In Times of the Coronavirus by Rafael Montilla. Can be visited until September 15 at the Hernan Gamboa Gallery in Miami. With a lot of 21 works of the artist's most recent creation. He expressed his creation about the reference about the people are in quarantine and they feel a lot of frustration. In the same time, he tried to explain that people have, not now, but in the past, have a little mental issues. So he tried to reflect all these problems in his exhibition. Unlike his previous works, the series that Rafael Montilla exhibit in his exhibition is fundamentally concrete art, and most of their work are in 3D with irregular shapes. On the other hand, he explained that he used a combination of colors and the name of African queens for each of his work, because he said that he he respect a lot of the woman, and in this moment in the past, they are not, for be a queen is not like a for gender, just the man and woman can be in that times the woman can be a queen. Rafael Montilla will perform a representation inspired by the performance piece of How to Explain Picture to a Dead Hair by the German artist Joseph Bay. It can also be seen virtual through the social networks. You can follow the Rafael Montilla at Rafael Montilla Art on Instagram and Facebook. I'm Carolina Portilla from the South Florida Mosaic. Thank you for listening to us and see you next Wednesday.
Don't forget to tune in with us next Wednesday morning on the South Florida Mosaic, your magazine show with pieces of news, arts, and culture on UIC Radio.